Kate, I wanted to be sure to ask you that the tone of your movie, Wonder Wheel, is so unusual. It feels very theatrical and sort of outsized in a way, and I'm wondering sort of where that came from and even how you talked about that on set as you were making the movie.
Woody Allen is an extraordinary writer, and he's obviously known for having created extraordinary roles, very powerful, complicated roles for women for many, many, many years, and to join that lineage of incredible actresses made me feel terrified and also immensely privileged, and it was a responsibility as well. You know, Woody was very excited about this film. It's set in Coney Island, it's where he's from. I mean, literally we were shooting on streets where he used to skip around and get ice cream as a little boy. And so I think his effervescence and his enthusiasm really was quite infectious for everyone. I think the cast and the crew, we had Vittorio Storaro as our cinematographer, and the way that it looked had so much to do really with Vittorio and Susie Benzinger, our costume designer. It's set in 1950. And you know, these people have lived those years, and the idea that light changes on people's faces, and because my character Ginny lives above a shooting alley within an amusement arcade with her husband Humpty, played by Jim Belushi, you know, there were the fairground lights always coming through the window, so constantly through every scene the colours would be shifting and changing, and it was quite mesmerising to be a part of something like that. I've never experienced that. You know, you can be midway through a 14-page piece of dialogue and it's all being done in one continuous shot, and the lights probably changed about 7 times. And we had to, all of us, get very, very good at totally trusting and just ignoring those big shifts, because we're not talking about just going from, you know, sort of light to a little bit darker, but we're talking light to orange, you know, so, which was, of course, that's the sunlight, you know, the sunlight of the ocean coming through the windows and the colours of the Ferris wheel going around, and, you know, God knows what else that you get in an amusement arcade. And it gives that sense of heat, and it gives that that feeling of freneticism and sort of anguish that you would feel if you lived above a shooting alley and constantly get migraines because of the banging sounds downstairs. And you know, my character has an 11-year-old son who's obsessed with lighting fires, like, and not just little ones, you know, big ones in apartment buildings, you know, so the layering and the complexity had a lot to do with the colour, the tone, the costumes, and the sets. I mean, they were just spectacular, and it was very, very thrilling, really exhilarating to be a part of something like this. And I don't think I've ever been involved in something, perhaps Steve Jobs working with Sorkin, as you have, Jessica, that sense of pace was very present working on Steve Jobs, but this actually was something else, I think, largely because I did have such an enormous volume of dialogue to retain. There was one week when I think I had 33 pages of just straight talking, and it was completely terrifying. I mean, I've described it as being a bit like a white knuckle ride, but it really was. I mean, I didn't really sleep much on the film. I'm sure you've all experienced this as well, but I would wake up in the night and go, is it now? Is it now? Is it now? Am I on? Is it? Okay, no. A little bit longer. And it was a mixture of fear and excitement. Am I ready? Go, now, stop, start, go, run, keep running, go faster, stop, and go. And it was an amazing, amazing experience.